Welcome to the 2001 MAAC basketball tournament at HSBC Arena in Buffalo. Good morning, everybody. It's a busy day of basketball here in Buffalo. 6 games are coming your way. My name is Howard Simon, just part of the crew along with David Scott here. We'll be talking about men's and women's basketball today. And David and I are going to talk about the men's tournament. We do have quarterfinal action for the men today as well as semifinals for the women. Now, David, let's start with the men because it really is going to be a wide-open tournament. We've got 2 games to talk about from yesterday in a little bit of a surprise. Loyola beating Fairfield in one of the preliminary games, and Canisius then beating St. Peter's.
What a great win for Scott Hicks and his program at Loyola, Howard. I really think that's going to lift them for next season. Not sure they're going to be able to get by Iona today, but certainly a great win for the program and a tough loss for Fairfield.
You know, the thing about the men's bracket, as you look at some of the matchups coming up, as I mentioned, quarterfinals are coming in today. Here are the brackets. 1 through 8. Now Fairfield's out, but really the top teams in this league, there was such a small separation from top to near the bottom of the league.
It's that word that Paul Tagliabue tried to get with the NFL and parity, and they've established it here in the MAAC. A credit to the conference as a whole, and I think you're going to see some great games today. Some close competition, closely matched teams, and a lot of teams that have similar strengths and weaknesses.
Well, you mentioned Iona will be favored to beat Loyola. Marist and Ryder in the 4-5 game should be very exciting. Now Siena lost a couple times to Manhattan, but you're certain you cannot write off the Saints in this tournament. And then we're hoping for a big crowd here for the Western New York matchup, Niagara and Canisius.
That backyard Buffalo brawl at 7 o'clock is going to be a good one. And I think you have to look at the Siena-Manhattan matchup as maybe the marquee matchup of the day. Bobby Gonzalez going against his former compadre, Louis Orr. That's going to be a good game. Really, 2 similar teams. Just because Manhattan won twice, I don't think that means that they're a shoe-in for tonight's game.
Well, the top seed not playing well at the end of the regular season. Iona skidding into the tournament. Again, they probably will advance past Loyola, but it will be interesting to see just how the Gales are playing, what kind of mindset they have after a rocky end to the regular season. Again, the men's action is coming up, but first up this morning, it will be women's basketball, and we're going to take a break. When we come back to Buffalo, we'll set you up for the women's tournament and tell you who is in the Final Four for the women's MAAC tournament as we continue on the MAAC Television Network. Welcome back to HSBC Arena in Buffalo for MAAC basketball. If you are a hoop junkie, you're going to love this day. Stay with us all day for 6 games, men's and women's tournament action. Howard Simon now joined by Cecilia DeMarco, and we'll be bringing you the first women's semifinal this morning. And Cecilia, as opposed to the men, on the women's side of the bracket, it's going a little bit more as expected. You can get a feel for what's happening on this side of the bracket.
The top 4 seeds have definitely gone through the tournament, and we'll probably see the better games played, Howard, in the next 2 that we see. The bottom 4 seeds had really separated themselves all through the season, so this isn't a surprise to anyone that has followed this basketball.
Now let's take a look at some of the action we've seen so far. Quarterfinal action was held yesterday, and again, really no surprises. As you see, Niagara gave Loyola some fits, but eventually moved on. You see the pre-quarterfinal games as well. The late games last night, Siena, as expected, beating Canisius. St. Peter's advancing past Manhattan. You know what? Ryder played Fairfield tough in that game as well before the Stags finally pulled away and advanced in the brackets.
Well, both Ryder and Manhattan gave both seeds a scare, but both teams hung on to take it in the final few minutes of the game, and now we have the best 4 teams representing the conference as we move to championship play.
Now we're going to bring you the first game this morning. It will be Loyola and Fairfield. The Stags, you see the number 2 seed, Loyola number 3, and then in the nightcap, so to speak, St. Peter's, the dominant program traditionally in this conference, but down by St. Peter's standards, if you can call a 4 seed down. They will take on Siena, which has had just a magnificent season.
St. Peter's cannot be counted out. Not of this tournament, not ever, Howard. Absolutely. They're going to be some great ball games today and tonight.
Well, we hope you're ready. We're going to bring you some exciting basketball, and when we come back, we'll get you ready for matchup number 1. MAAC women's semifinal action is next on the MAAC Television Network. Welcome back to HSBC Arena in Buffalo. It is the 2001 MAAC tournament, men's and women's play. Again, we are in women's semifinal action today. Let's take a look at the brackets and tell you what you're going to be seeing throughout the course of the day. It is Loyola and Fairfield. Well, the regular season, it's pretty much picked up, or continued rather, in the tournament as the top 4 teams have advanced. Siena St. Peter's, the 5 o'clock matchup this afternoon, and this morning the 2 seed Fairfield Stags will take on the 3 seed the Loyola Greyhounds. Welcome back, Howard Simon, along with Cecilia DeMarco. We'll be joined by David Scott as well. when you get to the tournament, Cecilia, you always like to lean on some seniors, don't you?
Oh, and seniors are a senior-laden tournament with this top 4 team. Fairfield has a couple, Gail Schrumpf being one of them, Erica Rath being the other for Loyola. Seniors win tournaments. Seniors take you to championships. So if the seniors come to play, it'll be a heck of a tournament.
Now, we're going to talk about Erica Rath over the course of the game, but we want to focus on a sophomore, a very talented sophomore for Loyola.
Well, Katie Netherton, 6'2" sophomore that in the last 10 games has been the key to Loyola's success. The one thing that I like most about Katie is if you foul this child, she puts the ball in the basket. Last night, 10 for 10 from the foul line, 18 points. This player will give Gail Schrumpf a handful today.
Well, you mentioned Gail Schrumpf, and that gets back to the comment on seniors. The key player for Fairfield, last season's player of the year in Gail Schrumpf.
Well, Gail Schrumpf is playing as if she is the player of the year, but she's doing it in a different way, Howard. She's not concerned about her points. She's more concerned about giving the ball to her teammates when she's double-teamed. And one of the things Coach Nolan has consistently stressed to Gail is, Gail, take us to the promised land, but you may not need to do it the way you've done in the past. Gail Schrumpf can rebound, she can score. She may have a breakout game in tournament, but she'll find a way for this team to win.
Let us check the citizens' communication keys to the games, and we'll start with the Loyola Greyhounds.
Well, the Greyhounds have to keep the ball in the half court and play a half court kind of a basketball game. They don't want to get into a running game with Fairfield, and they have to rebound. Fairfield is the best offensive rebounding team in the league. You cannot give them second and third shots.
On the other hand, here are Fairfield's keys.
Fairfield has to run the ball. They want to play it in 90 feet. They want to get some easy baskets, and they want the ball inside to both Gail and Ayanna Brown.
Fairfield upset in the title game by St. Peter's last year, hoping history does not repeat itself. Lineups and the tip coming up next on the MAAC Television Network.
This game is brought to you in part by the Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of Pepsi. By HSBC, your world of financial services. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Budget, get out of the ordinary with budget. And by the New York Lottery, New York Lotto. Will you be ready if it happens to you?
Welcome back to HSBC Arena. Let's check out the starting lineup for the Greyhounds of Loyola. Jennifer Mitchell, Erica Rath, and we talked about Katie Netherton, the front line. Senior point guard, you love having that. Shannon Cohen in the backcourt along with the junior Laura Slater. And the Greyhounds 19-9 coming into action this morning in this semifinal game. For the Fairfield Stags, a very talented freshman. This league is going to hear a lot about Ayanna Brown. Gail Schrumpf, who we talked about, Cecilia, and a much mature player and the focal point of Fairfield offensively and defensively. Shireen Isadora, another very talented young player for Diane Nolan, a sophomore. And in the backcourt, you better find Holly Tapley, especially in transition. If you don't, she'll burn you from three-point range. And a solid point guard in Megan Light, a solid starting five for Diane Nolan.
But she's got a strong starting five, as does Loyola. But the starting five in Fairfield, what I like about them is that they're interchangeable pieces. You'll have Isadora bring the basketball up, as well as Light, as well as their 2 and 3 players all of the time bringing it up. So you have lots of people touching the ball, as opposed to what you'll see with Loyola, which is Cohen will handle the ball 90% of the time. But as a coach, her turnover ratio is phenomenal. She's 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. I'd have her hitting the ball all the time as well.
Now you see the final moments there for the Loyola Greyhounds as they get in some thoughts before this matchup. Again, the winner goes to the MAAC championship game. The other member of our broadcast crew this morning joins us once again. Let's check in with David Scott. David?
Good morning, Howard and Cecilia. You know, when we look at these two teams out here today, we're looking at two of the best teams in terms of winning percentage in MAAC tournament history. Both 61% winning percentages. 2 titles for Loyola, 3 for Fairfield. Let's get it on. Here we go. Thanks. Back to you, Howard.
All right, David, thank you very much. As you see the Fairfield Stags, the higher seed in the home jerseys with the white trimmed in red, and Fairfield has not played well in Buffalo. In fact, the win yesterday in the quarterfinals, their first victory in 3 years the MAAC tournament has been here in Buffalo. They were one and done in 99 and 97. They've gotten past that roadblock. There's Cindy Anderson, the coach of the Loyola Greyhounds, in her second full season down in Baltimore, a 47-32 record. Diane Nolan has done everything at Fairfield, one of the top coaches in the women's game. 21st year with the Stags, 381 victories and 3 NCAA tournament appearances. We are ready for basketball. Fairfield swept the regular season series, winning at Alumni Hall and down at Reitz Arena in Baltimore, and they will win the opening tip. You see the officials, Bob McEntee, Patrick Sullivan, Angie Sansevero, and thank you for joining us here in Buffalo. Immediately inside, the high-low to Strumpf. Nice block by Netherton, and Rath has the loose ball. Slater, Cohen, Rath swings it around to Mitchell. Her three. And Loyola's on the board first.
Well, since Mitchell had been inserted in the lineup, and that was about 10 games ago, Loyola's been a different team. Mitchell can shoot the three.
Well, that's a good start because Loyola just horrendous from three-point range in the 2 losses to Fairfield. Cohen with the steal to the hoop and the bucket, 5-0 early.
And you know, it's the value of seniors. Cohen is the kind of player that knows that this is her last chance as a senior and is going to take it to town. So watch her to get more involved in the offense today. Again,
Tapley's a good three-point shooter, the best in the MAAC this year for Fairfield. They work it inside into Brown. Ball is loose, and Cohen down on the floor comes up with it. Shannon Cohen on the far side. Slater with a little fake now down to Rath. Netherton, look at the ball move. They were deflected out of bounds, but boy, that's one thing you're going to see from Loyola. They rarely will shoot off the first pass. They're all about ball movement and taking the high percentage shots.
And they use, I would guess, about 15 seconds on possession, Howard. They want the defense to be stretched. They want to take an easy shot, and the way to do that is to move the ball from top to side to side.
Well, there's no secret. Loyola would like to keep this game, Cecilia, in the 60s, I would guess. If it gets up to 70 and beyond, this is definitely Fairfield's tempo.
Well, Loyola's best defense is their offense, because if they hold the ball for enough seconds on the offensive end, then Fairfield won't get it. Fairfield can't score. And you'll watch them employ that game, and they'll run a high-low, they'll run a stack, they'll run a little bit of a flex.
5 seconds on the shot clock. Quick inbounds and a turnaround, not in for Erica Rath, but Loyola with the offensive board. Well, that's another thing they did not do well in the 2 games against Fairfield. They got hammered on the boards, out-rebounded by about 13 in the 2 matchups, and early on, they're hitting the glass here in Buffalo. Rath hanging on to it. Cohen. Bounce pass inside. Tough pass through 2 defenders and kicked out by Strumpf. And a foul on Loyola. Good defense by Strumpf and Brown. That was a tough pass to make if you're Shannon Cohen.
Loyola's decided to pick Megan Light up early to slow Fairfield down. If you let Megan Light go, what she'll do is set the pace on the offense. They want her to bring the ball up the way she's bringing it up now, which is their game plan.
A junior from Gloucester, New Jersey. Megan Light led the team in assists with a career best 148. Inside they work it to the freshman Ayanna Brown, and Fairfield's on the board.
I think we'll expect and see a lot of different looks from Fairfield today. Coach Nolan kept a lot in her pocket against Ryder. She knew that she didn't have to show the preparation that had been taking place in the last couple of weeks of practice. So watch to see them do things that we may not seen them do all year long.
Showing a little zone on this trip up court by the Greyhounds. Slater. Cohen, penetration, and jumper can't get it to fall. Rebound batted around. Tapley comes up with it. Tapley, another one of the seniors, having a terrific season for Diane Nolan. 78 threes she made this season, winning the Citizens Communications Long Distance Shooter of the Year award for the MAAC. Light doubled, almost dribbled out of bounds. Nice save by Isadora. Strumpf, in and out, and Netherton grabs the board.
And once again, Howard, Cohen slowing it down, taking her time, setting everything up.
Well, Cohen, just the ultimate, the vintage senior point guard, you know, experience and calm. But I'll tell you what, that was another shaky pass inside by Loyola. Maybe they're trying to force it too much into the post.
Well, Netherton has been so successful, and it's been the focus of their offense that they have not relied on their perimeter very much. And Slater is a very good shooter, and Cohen can light it up if you give her an opening. So they may not want to force in too early, but it looks as if it's part of their game plan.
That foul on Slater, her first and the team's second. It is 5-2 Loyola, about 3.5 minutes into the first women's semifinal here in Buffalo. Thank you for joining us this morning for a full day of basketball. Light with the miss, Netherton with the rebound. The winner of this game will play at 7 o'clock tomorrow night for the MAAC championship and the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Siena and St. Peter's, the other semifinal, at 5 later today. Mitchell's baseline jumper off the rim. Isadora with the board. Boy, if you're Fairfield, you have a very talented senior class, but the future looks bright with Isadora and Brown. Brown blocked inside, and Loyola comes out with the ball. Slater, good defense by Slater and Netherton on Ayanna Brown down low.
Well, Fairfield, who traditionally has had a great way with offensive boards, hasn't had a second shot in the first few minutes of play. So look for Diane Nolan to really get these kids going and getting to the offensive board soon.
Nice penetration by Cohen. That bounce pass a little low off the ankles of Erica Rath. Slater saves it, but a whistle and a push-off on the drive. You talk about rebounding, and that's Cindy Anderson's philosophy. Defense and rebounding. If you do those, you'll always be in the basketball game no matter what your offense is doing. 15:37 left in the first half. Loyola early on with the 5-2 lead in the MAAC women's semifinal on the MAAC television network. You get a look at the Loyola bench. Greyhounds with the early lead, 5-2 in this semifinal game against the Fairfield Stags. Here at the MAAC Women's Tournament, HSBC proud to sponsor the HSBC Family Section. Tickets and programs for today's game were provided by HSBC, your world of financial services. Allison Thorne in the game for Fairfield off the timeout, and off the timeout, Fairfield fouls the Loyola Greyhounds, so we'll have free throws coming up for Loyola, but that's nothing new. Loyola goes to the foul line. In fact, they set a school record this year, Cecilia, with more than 500 free throw attempts. And part of that reason is that Katie Netherton gets to the foul line as well as any point guard does. This player invites contact, likes to get hit, and is just a great foul shooter. Over the last 6 or 7 games, Howard, she's been shooting almost 90% from the foul line. She's a 77% free throw shooter through the year. So as a defender, you want to respect that person's ability to go up like that. She misses the second, and that's snapped a streak of 19 straight free throws that Katie Netherton had hit. So she gets 1 out of 2, and they go the other way, and Fairfield goes on offense. Isadora looking for Thorne inside, instead back out. Tapley, long range 3, off the back of the rim, no good. That is not, it's long range, but it's her range. I mean, she is a deadly three-point shooter, but can't get that one to fall. And part of the substitution and Coach Nolan's part is that Thorne does really a very good job on the boards, and you can see that she and Netherton will really bang down there for a while. Slater ran the baseline and came out high through the screen. Now the pass into Netherton on Strump. Good D by Gail Strump. Just kind of stood her ground, and the shot not falling from Netherton. And here go the Stags the other way. Only 2 points for them in the first 5 minutes. Thorne, Strump, contact, out of bounds, and the ball will go over to the Greyhounds. Loyola's playing the game at the pace that they like to play. If you take a look at the score, you've got 6 minutes of play, and where we haven't collectively had 10 points scored. So you know that Loyola wants to keep it that way. They're walking the ball up, not worried about time at all. Yeah, I mean, the 2 regular season games we mentioned about pace, Fairfield won both. Fairfield hit the 70s in both of those games. But this game early on, of course, they're not headed into that kind of a point area. They're again sitting at 2, a little over 5.5 minutes in. Cohen, inside, Rath, off the glass and in. Erica Rath, an all-MAAC performer in her career, 3rd-team all-MAAC this season, and the 11th all-time scoring now for the Loyola Greyhounds. Has been a very strong player in the MAAC tournament traditionally as well. Nice strip by Cohen, off of Light. One-on-one on Isadora with the dish to the trailer, and Slater lays it in. And a well-timed, Fairfield needs a timeout. You see it, Cohen averages 4 steals a ball game. Makes a great pass on the other end of it. She's a senior, Howard. Well, defense is the story in this game for Loyola, and we talked about it, Cecilia. They preach defense. That's Cindy Anderson's main philosophy, and boy, they've done a stellar job so far. The only basket they've given up to Ayanna Brown. They've done a solid job of really disrupting the offense so it doesn't get into anything. Now this is Rath's work inside. Look at that move on Thorne. And you see here the nice steal. Cohen gets the ball, leads it ahead, invites defender, dishes it off. Well, Loyola with a good start. It is 10-2 and 6:01 into the first half, and this is exactly what Loyola needed. But, you know, hey, this is where Loyola always is. They have made, this is their 9th straight trip to the semifinals in the MAAC tournament. That's the second longest streak in this league behind St. Peter's. Fairfield, on the other hand, again, they had a scare against Ryder yesterday. Ryder was leading that game in the first half before Fairfield eventually took over and pulled away a little bit in the second half, and they're off to the slow start here this morning as well. By the way, the winners of the New York Lottery MAAC Scholar Athlete Award are Carmen Matriello from Siena College and Becky O'Donoghue of Niagara University. Matriello is a marketing major, a 3.58 GPA from Clifton Park, New York. O'Donoghue, communications major, 3.65 GPA from Dobbs Ferry, New York. The New York Lottery will provide new computers to their elementary schools. The award based on GPA, community participation, and good sportsmanship. The New York Lottery, supporting education since 1967, salutes both for their achievements. Fairfield trying to get things going offensively. A little trap put on by the Greyhounds. Isadora leaves the baseline jumper short. Nice position by Allison Thorne, and she draws the rebounding foul as Rath was trying to get her out of there.
And the strategy that Loyola is employing, and it's their quarter-court trapping kind of a defense that's really just put in, Howard, to slow the game down. It's not put in for steals. It's not put in for takeaways. All it is to have Fairfield use seconds.
Inside, Thorne, too strong off the glass. Strumpf gets the board. The dish back to Tapley for three, and she's got it.
That's what makes Fairfield so dangerous on the offensive glass. If you give them a second chance to score, they're going to score.
And in a nutshell there, you saw the maturity of Gail Strumpf. Last year, 2 years ago, she tries to continue driving through the lane, maybe forces up a shot. Now she draws the defense and kicks it out to Tapley. That one knocked out of bounds. They will rule it was tipped by, thought it was going to be tipped by Fairfield. Nope, Loyola last touch, so it will be Stags basketball. There you see Allison Thorne. Thorne, a fifth-year senior. She has graduated already, stayed in school, came back to play basketball. And, you got to give her credit. She was a starter, and now is coming off the bench. A lot of players might gripe about that or hang their heads, but she did not. And that's one of the reasons why Fairfield has the success. All of these players have adapted to their roles very well. Strumpf again with the dish. This time it's not loose. Strumpf recovers 5 on the shot clock. She's got to put it up. Air ball, and the shot clock will be down to 1, but it's lost out of bounds by the Stags.
Well, Howard, I think you have a great point there. The Fairfield seniors have found a way to put their own needs individually to the side and talk about the team first, and that's why they've had the kind of season that they've had, and that's why they stand a very good chance of taking the season to the next step.
Erica Rath will try the baseline jumper, can't get it to fall. Thorne there for the rebound. The Stags will push it up the court, as you see. Like Isadora needs some help. Now tries the baseline herself. On the bump, gets the, around and out. Rebound, batted around and batted out of bounds, and it'll be Loyola basketball. So Fairfield is getting some chances as well that they just can't get to fall at this point.
Loyola's all around the ball, and they're doing a good job of taking away passes that the ball handler can see. The Fairfield team tries to, against the double team, look to the opposite elbow, and what Loyola's done is really defended that elbow really very well.
Now you saw 2 of 12. That's an amazing stat as that ball was thrown away by the Greyhounds when you consider the fact that Fairfield is the best shooting team in the league. They led the MAAC in field goal percentage and three-point percentage, and yet off to the 2-12 start in the first 8 minutes here. That is a testament to, of course, the defense being played by Loyola.
But if you look at them, they're not flustered. No one in the bench is really worried. Coaches don't seem worried. They're just going to play the game. And the one thing that I really like about Diane Nolan is that she coaches the game, not the play.
Strumpf with the rebounding foul on Netherton. And that'll be the first foul on Gail Strumpf. Again, the look you wanted to get. Nice kick-out pass by Light. Down the middle, found Tapley, but she couldn't get the 3 to fall. 10-5 Loyola, 11:44 left in the first half of this semifinal game on the MAAC Television Network. Greyhounds up 10-5 over the Stags at this women's semifinal game of the MAAC tournament in Buffalo. Time for the Citizens Communications Did You Know? And this game's Did You Know feature is brought to you by Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Gail Strumpf is the first player, male or female, in the history of basketball at Fairfield to eclipse 1,800 points and 1,000 rebounds. A fantastic career for the senior from Beacon Falls, Connecticut, who was first team All-MAAC this season. Howard Simon, Cecilia DeMarco, and David Scott here in Buffalo as we bring you the first of 6 basketball games today. Hope you can order pizza later and you've had your breakfast and just kind of stay with us all day. Rath bumped in the middle, shuffled the feet, couldn't get a good pass off, and Fairfield comes up with the basketball. Light, the point guard, all-time leading scorer in her high school career in Gloucester, New Jersey. Can't score, but obviously is more in charge of running the offense. She'll try the shot here, and it's off a little bit. Thorne with the offensive board over Netherton. The putback doesn't fall, but she draws the foul. If one thing Allison Thorne has done is get the offensive boards. You mentioned, Cecilia, earlier on they weren't doing that, but Thorne has given them that off the bench.
Well, you see that Allison is just such a wide body. She goes up with such intensity. She really nudges Netherton, and Netherton's hand is caught on her elbow as she comes through. But that's what Allison Thorne does for this team. She comes off the bench, and she's such a different player physically than Ayanna Brown that the defense has a challenge that they're faced with that they weren't expecting. And Netherton will find herself in foul trouble with Allison Thorne because of the way Allison Thorne goes to the boards.
Get a good look at Thorne from Queens, New York. An all-state player in her high school career for August Martin High School. And she hits them both her first 2 points of the game. It's a 3-point game. Loyola 10, Fairfield 7, 9 minutes into the first half. Cohen trying to get it inside, knocked around Mitchell. Right side jumper, around and out, and the rebound is out of bounds. Last touched by the Stags, so it'll stay Loyola basketball.
And there's a battle on the boards, Howard. Both teams are just throwing themselves at loose balls, and I think what you mentioned early on about both coaches preaching the importance of rebounding is really evident in the first few minutes of play.
Tapley gets a break. You saw 22 in white. Mary Beth Chartier coming in for Fairfield, the freshman from Dayville, Connecticut. Cohen against Light. Mitchell. Jennifer Mitchell's had a very strong season for the Greyhounds. Quite the compliment to the post players they have in Netherton and Rath. Chantrell Smith in the game for the Greyhounds. Can't get that jumper to fall. Netherton corrals it, and they'll get a third chance on this trip up the court. Chantrell Smith, if I could just correct myself, by the way, the sophomore from Chesterfield, Virginia, number 20 in green with the basketball. Netherton now. Contact, Strump goes down, no call, shot missed, and Thorne gets the rebound.
Well, they're letting the big people play.
Yeah, they have been bumping a little bit early on both ends of the court this morning. Isadora and Light. Chartier just past the halfway point. And Fairfield gets that one to fall. The Stags now make it a 1-point game. So they're on a 7-0 run. It was 10-2 a moment ago. Now it is 10-9.
And Chartier is the kind of player that can pick tempo up, Howard. She's a point guard that moves Megan Light over to the 2.
Cohen with the drive, maybe forced that one a little bit. And here come the Stags, and up court, Megan Light is fouled by Shannon Cohen. Now the Stags trying to get their shooting game down a bit more. Here comes Ayanna Brown back in the game. They had hit just 2 of their first 15 shots. Gail Strump gets a break. Strump scoreless so far.
But Fairfield's rotation of Thorne, Schrumpf, and Brown really put a whole lot of pressure on their opponent because Netherton and Rath have had to stay in and really bear the brunt of the kind of play that Thorne brings in when she substitutes.
Rath defensively on Brown, spin move, and leaves it just short. Thorne tried to get a hold of the rebound but couldn't grab it, and Cohen fouled by Light on the way up court. When you're watching Ayanna Brown today, you should take a look at Light, who just picked up that personal foul. And for fans who follow the MAAC, you're going to, I think, see a lot of Ayanna Brown over the next 3 seasons at Fairfield.
At the first part of the season, Howard, Ayanna Brown was just a dominant freshman. And then when she hit the mid-part January, she really slowed down. And as I talked to Coach Nolan about it, she said she felt that she hit the freshman wall. But in the last couple of games, she started to show her stuff again.
The defensive board, for Isadora. Stags pushing it the other way. Chartier fouled by Cohen.
That's a costly foul.
Yeah, that's a tough foul because that's her second. Obviously, you don't want to lose Shannon Cohen, but it looks like she's going to take a little time on the bench with her second personal foul, and still 9 minutes to go in the first half. And there you see Cohen will go out.
And Loyola is not as good a team with Cohen on the bench as they are with her on the court, because Cohen provides leadership and she settles this team down. So Cobb's going to be asked to do the kinds of things that Cohen's learned to do in the last 4 years in the next few minutes.
Inside they go. Thorne too hard. Follows her own miss. That one can't fall. This one batted up. No good. And the rebounding battle is on. A jump ball is called. And the arrow will favor the Loyola Greyhounds.
Netherton's going to feel as if she's been a boxing match at the end of this game. She's just been pounded by Thorne in the last 4 possessions.
Well, we'll see how bruised whoever emerges from this game will be bruised for the MAAC title game tomorrow night. Lindsey Cobb, a moment ago, had the ball from Peckville, PA. Going to run the offense now in Cohen's absence. Netherton draws the foul, and she'll go back to the free throw line.
Well, the one thing that Netherton has yet to learn, and she's just a sophomore, is that when she's doubled, and you'll see it here, she'll go up strong against anyone. But whether she's got 2 people on her or 3 people on her, Netherton's still going to the basket. And what she'll learn as she matures, as Gail Schrumpf has learned, is that if she just hesitates just a bit and gives up the ball, her teammates are going to score layups.
Uncharacteristically, her second miss, and Cindy Anderson looking on from the Loyola bench. Netherton, a sophomore from Laurel, Maryland. Second team All-MAAC this season. You see Strumpf coming back in for Fairfield. Brown will take a seat on the bench. Netherton averaged 10 points, 8 boards, and also academic All-MAAC. Those teams announced this week at the awards ceremony as well. 0 for 2, so I wonder if a little case of the nerve this morning for Katie Netherton, who had hit 18 straight free throws coming in, but is 1 of 4 in this game. 1-point Greyhound lead, 8:15 and counting left here in the first half. Chartier on the wing. Rath trying to stay with Strumpf. Good defense. The cross-court pass to Tapley, knocked out of bounds. It'll stay Stag possession, and they'll have 11 on the shot clock.
Both teams are doing a good job on the boards. They're passing the ball well. But the defense of both teams is really admirable at this point.
Now, the post players really are having to work pretty hard for everything they're trying to get down low. Tapley with a kick out. Isadora's 3 is all that. Shireen Isadora, the sophomore, with her first bucket of the game, and Fairfield has the lead. Boy, Loyola's been stuck at 10 for quite some time. They had a 10-2 lead, and this one it is now 12-10 Stags. Mitchell trying to get it inside to Rath. You'd love to have your senior make a play here. 3 from Slater, and she answers back.
And that's what seniors do. They just answer when you need them to.
Well, Slater and Rath, the only 2 to start every game this season for the Greyhounds, and Slater with a big 3 to get Loyola going again, they hope, offensively. Isadora, nice bounce pass to Thorne. The kick out, Chartier. Tried to get it down low to Strumpf, but off a foot and into the hands of the Greyhounds. Here comes Cobb. Slater. Very patient approach, as we mentioned, offensively. Netherton looking around and instead kept it on the wing to Mitchell. Inside, Rath is fouled on the ball. And Fairfield will not be over the limit yet. I believe that's their 6th team foul, and it will take us to break as well with 7:06 left in the first half. Loyola 13, Fairfield 12 in this MAAC women's semifinal game on the MAAC television network.
I know most of you just graduated high school last year, or maybe you've been working for a while, seen some things, done some things, but nothing has prepared you for what's going to happen now. We're going to set goals for each of you, way up here, way up here, and then we're going to help you exceed them, believe it. And when finished, you're going to have not just a degree, you'll be a different person, a better person. Welcome to Iona.
Aspire, achieve. Iona. Call Iona College at 1-800-231-IONA.
With a win today, Loyola will reach 20 victories for the 3rd time in 4 years. They have a 1-point lead here in the first half. And by the way, Disney's Wide World of Sports joins forces with the MAAC to create a unique experience for MAAC athletes. Here's a list of upcoming MAAC championships at Disney. Men's and women's golf, April 2001 and 2002. Women's soccer, November of this year. November 2002, women's volleyball. For ticket and travel package information, visit www.macsports.com or www.anthonytravel.com. Howard Simon, Cecilia DeMarco, David Scott in Buffalo for the MAAC tournament. This turnover by the Greyhounds. Here come the Stags, down 1. Isadora on the wing. Chartier running the point now with Light on the bench. Tapley on the wing. Tries to go baseline, but turns the ball over, and the Greyhounds will get it back.
Well, the big change in the game started to happen when Allison Thorne was inserted, because what she's done is she's taken Erica Rath and Netherton out of the play. She's played them both depending on whether Schrumpf or Ayanna Brown were in. But Allison Thorne has changed the focus this game. She's rebounded, she's defended, but she's really leaning on some people. They can't score with her inside.
Well, and that's the key matchup for Loyola. They usually make some serious inroads in MAAC play with their dominant post game, but as Cecilia has mentioned, Fairfield has been able to balance that or attack that inside game so far here this morning. Cobb running the point with Shannon Cohen on the bench with a couple of fouls for the Greyhounds. Oh, contact there as Sharina Zadora jumps out, anticipating a shot by Slater, who kept the ball down and drew the foul, and that will put Fairfield over the limit.
Yeah, she really gets her up here. Quick little ball fake by Slater, and Isadora, she looks like a high jumper, only she's going forward. I thought she could leap over her with that move.
That is definitely a foul. You got your money's worth there in terms of a foul. And Isadora will go to the benches as Megan Light comes back on for Fairfield. In the meantime, Laura Slater, a 73% free throw shooter. As you see Jennifer Mitchell get a breather. Slater at the line for a 1-and-1. Seventh foul on Fairfield. Loyola has 16 fouls. 7, and you're over the limit. Slater will get one more.
And as you look, both Netherton and Rath have been in the game from start to finish. And in the first 30 minutes of play, that's a non-factor. But when you get into the last 10 minutes of play, players that have had blows on the bench really are the players whose legs are good. And Howard, so look in the last 5 or 6 minutes of play for the rest that both Schrumpf, Ayanna Brown, and Thorne have been able to get to make a big difference.
Slater hits them both to give Loyola the 3-point lead, 15-12. Light patrolling the baseline, cut off, pass. I don't know if it was meant for Thorne or Schrumpf, but Thorne got it. Chartier reach in and tied up by Slater, and the arrow will take the ball the other way. Loyola with solid defense once again.
Loyola's tough on the perimeter. They'll extend, they'll make the guards put the ball down. They're physical enough inside so the guards aren't seeing the openings.
Loyola, maybe as they turn this one over, maybe playing their best basketball of the season. They had a very tough non-conference schedule this season, and Cindy Anderson did what a lot of coaches do, play a difficult non-conference schedule, hoping it pays off in MAAC play, and it has made them perform better in league action, that's for sure.
Well, with a group of seniors, it's not about giving them confidence with wins early. It's about getting them good competition, and that was a good strategy on her part. I don't know if you do that with a freshman team. You don't want a freshman team to be 0-7 because they may just hang it up on you. But this team, having won before, knew that playing the good teams would make them better. And obviously, at the 4th seed, coming in one step away from a tournament championship was the right way to go.
Slater can't get the 3 to fall, and it goes out of bounds, so Fairfield will get the basketball back. A very successful season. I mean, 19-9, including yesterday's quarterfinal victories. You look at Diane Nolan. Well, Fairfield, though, just a little bit better. 24-4 coming into action today.
And Diane Nolan did what Cindy Anderson did, was take her team to play against better teams. And Fairfield was successful in doing so. So not only did they play better competition, but they got a few really key wins against some very strong and formidable Big East opponents.
It also doesn't hurt having all 5 starters back from a 25-win team last season. That's I'll coach that team. I'll take that team if you don't mind.
No, and one who happens to be a player of the year.
Yeah, that's not too bad either. That one traveling. The ball will stay with the Fairfield Stags as Ayanna Brown will come back into the game and give Allison Thorne a rest. You know that the Stags were the MAAC regular season champs last year, and as we mentioned in the Open, they were upset in the championship game of the tournament, but got their first ever WNIT bid. And that in itself was a great experience for this team to remain in postseason play at the time.
And played Wisconsin, who went on to win the WNIT to within 8 points. So when you think about what they learned through the end of a great season and then coming back here and knowing that they didn't want to go to the small dance, they want to go to the big dance, how determined they are to really take this tournament home.
You know, that last basket by Brown, I think that's the first time someone's had space in the paint today to take an uncontested shot. This one, the Stags thought they got all ball, but the foul is called on Fairfield, and Loyola will be at the free throw line.
Well, as you said, Howard, the ball is going inside. Both teams are pounding it up. You have 2 people just all over Netherton. Netherton's doing a good job just to get the ball off. As you mentioned earlier, a great foul shooter has just not found a range today.
Yeah, she gets it back there. She had missed 3 of her first 4, but Netherton gets that one to fall.
Well, she's got a great stroke, and she doesn't miss too often. And last night when she played against Niagara, she's 10 for 10 from the foul line. Already she's gone to the foul line 4 times. She averages 6 trips a game.
Well, she looked much better on those 2 trips and gives Loyola the 3-point lead. Under 4 minutes to go in the first half on the MAAC Television Network. Welcome back to the MAAC tournament in Buffalo. Loyola 17, Fairfield 14 in semifinal action. Fans, don't forget the 2001 Easton MAAC Hockey League Championship hits the ice March 15th through the 17th at University of Connecticut Ice Arena in Storrs, Connecticut. All session passes affordably priced at $12. For information, call toll-free 1-877-UConn. Well, David Scott also on the broadcast crew this morning, eavesdropping behind the Fairfield bench in that last time out. David, what'd you find out?
Howard, as Cecilia was talking about earlier, the Fairfield huddle very composed. Coach Nolan doesn't allow things to get out of control. She's urging Holly Tapley to slow things down, get into their offense, work it inside to the big people. Gail Strump's got to get more touches. Back to you, Howard.
All right, David, that is a great point. But when she does get touches, and there's one right there, they're making her work for it hard, and she's not really had a lot of great looks so far. But they're certainly getting her involved in the offense on this set. Tapley. Strumpf gets her 3rd touch on the possession and gives it off. Pretty play to Brown for the layup.
And that's what she's gotten so much better at this season. And knowing that people are converging on her, she finds the open player.
Now her assists decidedly up this season as she has learned to, well, she's got a better cast of players around her, and that helps as well. Cecilia, she knows if she kicks the ball out, it's going to get into the basket more often than maybe in the past.
Not just that, Howard. She's got a better cast of characters, and that because the Player of the Year tag carries a big old target on your back, everybody in the game is keying in on her all of the time. So she knows that, doesn't try to make great things happen, and finds players who can catch and put it away.
A nice defense by Holly Tapley, stripping the ball from Netherton, and then while on the floor, the shot clock ran out on the Greyhounds. So Fairfield has the ball back. You see Strumpf 0 for 4 from the field. They have really done a great job on her defensively. It's an all-MAAC performer there, and as Cecilia mentioned, last year's MAAC Player of the Year, and we talked about her numbers, 1,800 career points, but no field goals yet. Again, they try and get it into her. She'll give it to Light. Light in the lane, gets that one to go in, and Fairfield back in front by 1.
And it's such a low-scoring affair, Howard. Just 2 minutes into the before half, we have just an 18 to 17-point ball game.
You know, the key is if you're Fairfield, and David made the point, the huddle, you can't get frustrated. I mean, Loyola, that's Loyola's game. They want you to get frustrated offensively and lose your composure. And now words between Chantry Smith and Gail Strumpf. And Smith pulled away by teammate Lindsay Cobb as the two are fighting for that basketball as tension increases a little bit here in Buffalo.
But, you know, you take a look at the dynamics. Fairfield, Gail Strumpf just walks away. Her teammates just follow her. You see, there's a little bit of bumping. Smith, you'll see here, grabs the ball. Smith's head was sort of taken off a little bit, but it wasn't about her individually. Gail Strumpf just steers her down, goes down the other end of the court. A little feistiness there.
Let's see. Let me see. Chantry Smith, let's see. She's listed at 5'8". Right, and Strumpf is 6'4".
Yeah, you know.
You gotta love it.
Chantry, we love your heart, hon. But
yeah, she's not backing down at all. You know?
But, you know, Gail Strumpf and the whole cast of characters in Fairfield just walks down the other end, looks at each other as if to say, hey, let's just get on with the business of playing basketball.
So Strumpf at the free throw line. Gets her first point of the game. She'll get another. You see Smith cooling down.
Well, yeah, and Coach Anderson is really laying it into Smith about, you know, keeping control in a game like this. Smith just a sophomore, so she's not used to the emotions of this time. And I would imagine that when Gail Strumpf was a sophomore, she may have gotten heated under the collar as well.
Well, she'd start yelling at somebody, and she'd be yelling at the officials. I mean, she really went off on everybody when before this season, and really had a reputation around the league with the officials, and she's gotten out of that as well. And Strumpf gets her first field goal. And David made a great point. Out of the break, Cecilia, on every offensive possession, they have gotten the ball in Gail Strumpf's hands at some point.
And she makes things happen.
4-point lead is actually the largest of the game for Fairfield, 21-17, 1:47 left first half. Netherton into the corner. Jill DeYoung passing up a shot. Netherton inside. Doubled and blocked by Ayanna Brown. I believe she got a piece of that one. Slater grabs it, but one on the shot clock, and they don't know it. They won't get the shot off.
This is where they miss Cohen so much, because Cohen would have really led the team at that point in time and said, this is what we need. And Bob isn't able to do that yet. She's a young player. Cohen has to get back on the court soon.
Cindy Anderson calls a 30-second timeout. Now look at the work on the boards after the miss. Tapley, the senior. And eventually they'll get it to Gail Strumpf.
Gets right back to Gail Strumpf, and what a way to silence a critic. She gets to the foul line, makes the shot.
Chantrese Smith's on the bench, and you get the free throw, and then
the point, and just kind of looks over to say, well, thanks for getting me motivated. You know, she just didn't get flustered, and I think you mentioned last year, Howard, she would have gotten flustered. That would have affected her play. This really just challenges her right now.
Yeah, and she's used to facing double and triple teams. You know, she's seen it all season long, and saw it again yesterday, and she's seeing it again today. And you know, you grow up in that process as well. After you get bumped, and it's not exactly hack a Shaq. I don't know. I got to come up with hack a Gale. That doesn't work. But she's developed the way to stay calm and not get upset by it. Little trapping now by the Greyhounds. Light throwing it away in the middle. Bad pass across the lane, and here come the Greyhounds the other way. Cobb waiting for help. Netherton, as you see, look at that. No field goals in 7 minutes for the Greyhounds. An amazing drought offensively. And yet they're only down 4. Under a minute to go.
But that 7-minute mark is just about when Cohen left the game.
Yeah, with a second personal foul, that's right.
And Cohen finds people.
13 on the shot clock here. Mitchell, pass deflected, and a foul off the ball underneath.
And Netherton's going to get called for the offensive foul. Gail Strumpf did a great job in acting on that one. I'm really not sure that Netherton had the strength to put Gail on her back, but she did create some contact with her. There won't be a shooting foul because I believe it'll be, well, I don't know if they'll call it an offensive, they'll call it a pushing foul.
Yep, she's going to go to the free throw line. Well, that's another thing seniors learn. How to draw fouls from sophomores.
And Netherton has to be careful here because she has 2, and there's just 40 seconds left. She doesn't want to do anything silly down the stretch.
So Gail Strumpf back at the free throw line. The all-time leading scorer in Fairfield history earns another shot. Has had a great career. She came in Rookie of the Year in 1998. First team All-MAAC in 1999, Player of the Year in 2000, and first team All-MAAC again this season. And that 1998 team won a MAAC championship, and she'd dearly like to have another one on her way out of Fairfield. Gets them both there. She's got 6.
Well, Strumpf has sort of woke up, and after Smith gave her the little nudge to wake up, she might have been better off just letting the sleeping giant sleep.
It's that 9:45 start. I mean, maybe she just needed the wake-up call.
Yeah, that was it.
So Loyola hoping not to go without a field goal at the rest of the end of the half. Netherton inside, she'll snap that drought. Nice work getting it inside to Netherton down low. She's got 5, and it's 23-19. They will hold for 1 here. Knocked out of bounds by Slater. It'll stay Fairfield ball with 16.2 seconds left in the first half. I'm
not sure if I would keep Netherton on the court with Thorne in, because Thorne is going to be asking for the ball.
Tapley can't get the 3. Brown with the offensive board, stripped by Mitchell. Out of bounds, last touch by Fairfield. 6.2 seconds left for the Greyhounds. Certainly enough time to get it up court and get a shot off. Well, Brown did a nice job inside trying to get the offensive board. Couldn't come up with it. Here comes Cobb. She needs to move faster. They don't have that much time. Cobb for DeYoung at the horn and leaves it long.
Well, Cobb wastes a little time bringing the ball up. Waits it about 3 seconds there. Again, Cohen's missed. Second half's coming up. She has 2. She'll be back on the court. She
will indeed, because the offense certainly bogged down when Cohen went to the bench with her second personal foul. Loyola, just 1 field goal. Netherton's layup in the last, about 8 minutes of the first half of play. And despite that, though, if you're Cindy Anderson as she walks to the Loyola locker room, you're only down 4, so that's not a bad thing. It's 23-19 Fairfield. On the other hand, Anderson's troop did open up a 10-2 lead at the beginning of the game, and then Fairfield got their game going. But you know what? Erica Rath only 2 points, and they're still only down 4. Let's check in again with the third member of the broadcast crew this morning, David Scott. David?
Here with assistant coach Chris Linwall from Fairfield. Chris seemed to make a good run coming out into the latter part of the second half. What did you guys do to adjust?
We just, in the timeouts, we were trying to tell the kids to let the game come to us. We were trying to create too much early in the game and trying to force too many things. And then Diane just said in the timeout, hey, guys, let the game come to us. We're here. We know what we need to do. And just to, try to do the things that we've done successfully the whole year.
This helps to get Gail involved a little bit, too.
Absolutely. I mean, we needed the post touches. They were doing a good job taking us away and moving some defensive pressure, doubling the ball. And we were able to make some adjustments to get it inside. So hopefully that'll happen in the second half.
Chris, thanks very much. Howard, back to you.
Thank you.
It is halftime of game number 1 of the women's semifinals. Fairfield leads Loyola 23-19. More coming up on the MAAC Television Network.
Manhattan College, with 5 schools of arts, business, education, engineering, and science. Minutes from the cultural center and global marketplace that is New York City. Founded in the Lasallian tradition of excellence in teaching, respect for human dignity, and commitment for social justice. Manhattan College.
Welcome back to the HSBC Arena in Buffalo in the MAAC tournament. Howard Simon, Cecilia DeMarco, and David Scott with the first of the women's semifinal games. And Fairfield leads Loyola 23-19. Tempo-wise, it favors Loyola. But you could see at the end of the first half, Fairfield's offense is beginning to come around.
Well, it's not just the offense. Fairfield can go to its bench so deeply, and Loyola hasn't been able to. With Cohen on the bench with fouls, their offensive game has taken a step down. Cohen coming back in the second half early and not getting in foul trouble make a big difference to the Loyola team.
Let's take a look at some of the scores in this MAAC tournament that we've seen so far this weekend here in Buffalo. The I Love New York scores from around the league. In the play-in games, Ryder defeated Iona and Canisius beat Marist. And then yesterday in the quarterfinals, Ryder gave Fairfield some trouble before eventually losing by 11. Niagara and Loyola was close for a while, and the Greyhounds pulled away. Canisius blown out by Siena last night, 81-60, and St. Peter's had a struggle. They were down at halftime, but 48 second-half points helped them beat Manhattan 74-66. Now, the Citizens Communications final MAAC standings will look like this. What an amazing season for Siena. 17-1, the most wins in the history of MAAC play since they went to the 18-game schedule. But right behind, Fairfield at 16-2, Loyola at 12-6, and St. Peter's at 11-7. Form holding up in the tournament as the top 4 have advanced here to the semifinals. More coming up in a moment. It is halftime here in Buffalo. Fairfield leads Loyola 23-19, and you're watching the MAAC Television Network. Fairfield leads Loyola 23-19 at halftime of the first semifinal game. More basketball in a moment. But by the way, last April, the MAAC traveled to Lake Buena Vista Golf Resort for the men's and women's golf championship. Let's take a look.
The sun is rising on the first MAAC Men's and Women's Golf Championship held at Lake Buena Vista Golf Resort at Walt Disney World, Florida. The 2000 tourney will be the first ever conference championship held at Lake Buena Vista Golf Course with an NCAA automatic bid on the line. But before tee-off, the teams gather at the Odyssey Center in Epcot for the tournament banquet, which honors various academic student achievements throughout the year. After dinner, golfers, parents, and fans are able to experience the unique 2000 Millennium Celebration. The Tapestry of Nations Parade is followed by an unforgettable illumination show, seen only in the year 2000. Walt Disney World provides a unique venue which satisfies all the needs of the MAAC. In 1999, men's soccer had some kicks at the Wide World of Sports Complex. And in October 2000, cross country will give the course a run.
Brakes in the traps, please, throughout the course of the day.
The setting for the 2000 MAAC Men's and Women's Golf Championship is being played at the Lake Buena Vista Golf Resort, home to the National Car Rental Classic, an annual October stop on the PGA Tour. Lake Buena Vista is a Joe Lee design, one of 5 championship courses maintained by Walt Disney World. Eagle Pines, Magnolia, Palm, and Osprey Ridge courses offer challenging play for any Disney guest. For the MAAC Championship, 9 men's teams and 2 women's teams will shoot 36 holes before a team and individual champion are crowned. Lake Buena Vista was a par 72 and played 6,860 yards for the men, while the women were challenged with a par 73 at a distance of 5,258 yards. Iona took an early one-day lead of 2 strokes over Niagara and 4 strokes over Ryder, and the Fairfield women were right on par with an edge over Siena. Despite a few trips to the sand traps, birdies, pars, and even a few eagles were not hard to see. All MAAC athletes and guests stay at the comfortable and friendly All-Star Sports Resort. The All-Star offers 2 pools, a food court, gift shops, and a unique multi-sport environment to its guests. Manhattan's Chris Damiano shot a 3-under par 69 on both days to claim the men's individual championship, while Fairfield's Sarah Scalamacchia shot a 2-day total of 173, as both took home the prestigious McLeod Trophy. Iona held on to defeat Niagara by 11 strokes and claimed their second MAAC title to advance to the NCAA championship. The MAAC will return to Lake Buena Vista in 2001 and 2002. MAAC golfers will pack their bags with clubs, plenty of golf balls, and a lot of sunscreen as they return to the first tee next spring. Who will have the honors?
And we will switch back to basketball and take a look at the first half highlights and stats when we continue here in Buffalo. 23-19, Fairfield leading Loyola. Second half action coming up on the MAAC Television Network.
This game is brought to you in part by the New York Lottery. New York Lotto, will you be ready if it happens to you? By Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. Budget, get out of the ordinary with Budget. And by Chase Manhattan Bank, the right relationship is everything.
Welcome back to the MAAC tournament in Buffalo. Howard Simon, Cecilia DeMarco, and David Scott. Game 1 is a women's semifinal. Fairfield leading Loyola 23-19. And let's take a look at some of the highlights from the first half of action.
You take a look here, and Erica Rath's only 2 points in the ball game. Unusual. She's a 10-point scorer. You have Chartier, who stepped in, did a great job for Megan Light, spelled the guards. And you see here, Holly Tapley to Isadora, who doesn't always shoot well from the 3, puts it away for her first and only 3-point ball game, 3-point to the game. And Slater answers to that, and that was when it was neck and neck, Howard. You have Megan Light here, and Schrumpf, who was held to just 2 points before that little awakening, scores 5 at this point. But Schrumpf's really been the story in the last 4 minutes of the ball game because she's done so many good things. Well, it's been a struggle as far as the stats are concerned, and these stats are brought to you by Citizens Communications, and neither team shooting well. 30% for the Stags, 31% for Loyola. Okay at the free throw line. You see the 3-point goals. Too many turnovers, I'm sure, for both coaches. And the rebounding battle, a slight edge to the Fairfield Stags. The bench not productive for either team. 1 bench point in this game for Fairfield. No bench points for Loyola. And that's the first half stats. And this is second half action. Fairfield, the number 2 seed in the white jerseys. Loyola, the 3 seed in the green. And right off the bat, Ayanna Brown with a jump shot. And the Fairfield offense gets rolling early on as they extend the lead to 6. Well, Brown just played 9 minutes in the first half because Thorne really did such a good job on the boards. So the big people now are going to be rested. And Netherton is the one player in the game that hasn't had a blow.
And a whistle and a foul on that set.
I think Gail Schrumpf may have pushed through the screen and leveled someone and picked up a foul, sort of a frustration foul. And it's her second.
So nobody in foul trouble. We have a number of players with 2. Strumpf, Brown, and Isadora for Fairfield. Rath, Netherton, and Cohen for Loyola. Cohen only got 11 minutes of playing time in that first half because of the 2 personal fouls. And as we talked about earlier, when she went out, that's when Loyola went into the drought. Only 1 field goal in about the last 8 minutes of that first half.
Well, Cohen just does such a nice job of bringing the ball back out in the offense and really judging when it should go in or out.
Netherton inside gets the basket, and they'd like to establish that more often. We saw that at the end. Netherton had the field goal, Cecilia, at the end to break the drought, but they haven't been able to establish her inside like that consistently.
Well, I'll tell you, if Netherton starts to heat up, look for Thorne to come back in because Thorne is the one player that can physically move her out of position.
Strumpf can't get her jumper to fall, but the offensive board for the Stags. Strumpf, the senior, back to Megan Light, though. play a little give and go. Megan Light off the Strump, back to Tapley. Holly Tapley, another senior. Nice dish inside for Strump, who gets the basket. So Strump has 7. 27-21 Fairfield. Certainly a better offensive start in the second half than we saw in the first half, as who knows, maybe both teams were a little nervous in that first 20 minutes of action. Jennifer Mitchell off to Shannon Cohen, the senior point guard for Loyola, and Cindy Anderson. Erica Rath, another senior inside, around Brown with the basket.
And Rath now is starting to look as if she's asking for the ball, Howard. I'm not sure she was asking for the ball early on.
And they have to establish Rath as well, as we talk about Strump. Same way on the other side for the Greyhounds. Rath, a senior, has had very successful MAAC tournament appearances. Had just the one field goal in the first half. Brown inside with position and gets the roll.
I think this is a tough matchup for Rath. I think Brown is a little taller, a little bit more athletic, and she stands 2 inches taller than Erica Rath. So I think that's a tough physical matchup for her for the whole game.
Diana Brown, the freshman from Norwalk, Connecticut, leads all scorers with 10. She made the MAAC all-rookie team when the awards were announced on Thursday night at the annual banquet. 29-23 Stags. The winner plays tomorrow night at 7 for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Slater doubled, gets off the jumper in traffic, can't hit it. Brown with the board. Stags want to run. Loyola wants to take their time, but the Stags certainly want to push the ball. Tapley pulls up, but can't get the 3 to fall. Off the side of the rim, Mitchell for Loyola. And you see the difference in pace. Loyola taking a little more time moving it up court in the hands of their point guard, Shannon Cohen. Started by Light. Slater can certainly hit the 3. She's the best three-point shooter for Loyola. Netherton, the sophomore, try to set a screen for Cohen. She'll go left instead, all the way to the basket, and blocked and fouled.
And that's what Cohen does so well. She reads the clock. She sees that there's just 6 seconds on the clock. You'll see what she does. She'll ask for the screen. She'll fake as if she's going towards the screen, just continues to go to the basket. Ayanna Brown just a little bit late, catches her in the arm.
Foul on Megan Light, her second, and Cohen, the senior from Timonium, Maryland, a 77% foul shooter. Hits the first one, she'll get another. Starting point guard the last 2 years, and the team captain for Cindy Anderson the last 2 years. Has improved her shooting as a senior as well. Her free throws and field goal percentage numbers up to a career best this season, 40% field. And as I mentioned, the 77 at free throws. 2 of 2 to pull them within 4. As you see, we're a little over 3 minutes into the second half. Fairfield and Loyola for the right to meet either St. Peter's or Siena in the MAAC championship. Light for Strump. Tries to get it to Brown, but I think Netherton might have got a piece of that pass, and Loyola comes out with the ball.
Well, Loyola has done a nice job scouting and making an adjustment for Gail Schrump's passes. Gail always looks to the opposite low block to dump the ball to the opposite post. What Loyola hasn't seen is that the elbow is open each time, and instead of going to the post, Gail might want to look up to the foul line extended.
Ball went out of bounds. It'll stay Greyhound possession. They have 8 seconds on the shot clock. As you get a look there at Gail Strump, native of Connecticut. Erica Rath with the elbow jumper, and she doesn't get it to fall. Netherton tied up by Tapley, and the arrow will keep the ball in the green and white. Loyola Greyhounds will maintain possession.
The Fairfield guards do a good job, Howard, of when a big person gets the ball. If she brings it below her waist, it's an automatic tie. Both Megan Light and Holly Tapley put their hands in there and will try to strip it, and if not, they end up with a change of possession.
Light defensively here against Cohen. Rath and Cohen play catch. Nice pass over Strump to Netherton, but they can't finish, and Fairfield comes out of it. Holly Tapley will take it up court. Tapley, the senior all-MAAC performer, bumped from behind by Slater. And that'll be a foul on Slater, and that is her second foul, and that'll take us to our first break of the second half. 15:38 remaining in this half of play. Fairfield 29, Loyola 25. Back with more in a moment. Greyhounds have won 8 of 9 coming into action this morning. They trail by 4 here in the second half. To find out more about MAAC basketball, you can go online and check out the conference website at www.maacsports.com. It is updated regularly and provides current information about your favorite MAAC teams and players. That's www.maacsports.com. Howard Simon, Cecilia DeMarco, and David Scott here in Buffalo as we bring you second half action of Fairfield and Loyola. Again, St. Peter's and Siena play at around 5 this afternoon. We also have 4 men's games coming your way as the men hit the quarterfinal portion of their part of the tournament. Here's Ayanna Brown, the freshman inside. She's got a game-high 12, and the lead is now 6 for the Stags.
I think the fatigue factor is beginning to kick in a little bit, Howard. Netherton's legs look a little heavy. Ayanna Brown, who just played 9 minutes in the first half, is the one fresh set of legs that Fairfield keeps going to. And I do think that when a team plays a second game in fewer than 24 hours, then you really, no matter what kind of condition you're in, with the kind of an emotion that tournaments bring, both teams begin to drag a little bit. And if you can't get rest, boy, it could spell disaster in the last 5 minutes of play.
Brown to Tapley, and she can't hit the 3. And Cohen gets down there, the point guard, to get the board. Chantrese Smith, the sophomore, all the way down the lane to the basket. Can't get it to fall. Rebound up and in by the trailer, Erica Rath. Great hustle by Rath to follow the miss.
And she came from nowhere. And immediately you're seeing Thorne being called on. Coach Nolan doesn't like what she sees in that that Loyola's getting to the boards.
Loyola back within 1, 31-30. Put a little trap on for another possession up court. Fairfield breaks it. Brown, great look down low for Strump. What a beautiful feed by the freshman.
Early on in the season, when I had an opportunity to see them play, they worked that high-low to perfection. And now that Ayanna is back and she has her legs and is out of that freshman wall syndrome, then it seems as if they're going back to it.
You know, coaches historically do not like to play up freshmen. I mean, you don't want to get carried away with a freshman, but Diane Nolan, there's no bones about it, as Jennifer Mitchell can't hit the 3. You ask her about Ayanna Brown, and she starts to smile, and she'll say flat out, she could be the best player in the history of the women's program at Fairfield. That's pretty nice praise for a freshman.
Well, when you think about the players that she's had, and Gail Schrump being one of them, a young woman in the mid-80s, Katrina Fields, who is second in scoring and first in rebounding with something like 1,200 rebounds over her career. That's quite a statement because she has had some terrific. Diane has found some great post players.
Well, she's found a beautiful player right now, I'm telling you, in Ayanna Brown. And again, you match up with Isadora, the sophomore. That's a nice 1-2 punch to have because you will lose Tapley and Strumpf among your seniors to graduation. Chantrese Smith inside. Rath is fouled. Now, you mentioned this earlier, Cecilia. We talked about Strumpf towards the end of the first half. Diane Nolan in the huddle said, hey, you got to get Gail the ball. You got to get her touches. I think they had at halftime, they had to talk about getting Erica Rath the ball for Loyola.
Well, Rath had just taken one shot in that, or made one shot. I think she just took 5, and Rath has to touch the ball more. Netherton is touching the ball, but Fairfield's doing just yeoman's work defensively and how they're surrounding Netherton. And Netherton hasn't learned what Schrump has learned in this past year, is the value of passing to teammates when you double team. What Netherton does so well is Netherton then forces the ball up and gets fouled. But you've got Schrump and Ayanna Brown in double team. Not often are you going to the foul line because the two of them can block shots.
Rath hits them both. She's got 8. Strumpf sits down with her 3rd personal foul. Shannon Cohen takes a break for Loyola, and Lindsay Cobb checked back in. Another 1-point lead here for the Stags as they get through the trap and get up court. Megan Light off to Isadora. She's been kind of quiet, had 1 3 in the first half, and that's it. Nice look inside. Brown with the basket. Thorne thought shot, but in fact passed the ball, and that was the better decision. Cecilia had opened up for an easier play.
And Thorne is just leaning on Rath now, and again, she wears you down defensively.
Rath trying to find some position. You can see at the bottom of the screen inside, cutting through the lane. Thorne fronting her on occasion. Now they get it to Rath. Turn around, does not fall.
And Erica's really forced to take a jump hook because Thorne's just taken her out of position.
Light off to Isadora. Pulls up for the jumper and leaves it short. Rebound, battled around and tied up by Netherton and Brown on the baseline. And this time the Arrow will keep the ball in Fairfield possession. 12:35 left second half. Fairfield 35, Loyola 32 in the semifinal action, pitting the number 2 and 3 seeds in this tournament. Fairfield under Diane Nolan, 3 MAAC tournament titles. They're trying to get another one here. Light, or rather Chartier, I'm sorry, can't get the 3 to fall. Here comes Smith with a 3-on-2. Smith all the way down the middle, too hard off the back of the rim. Thorne corrals the rebound for the Stags.
And Thorne was able to keep pace with Smith coming down. So when you think about Thorne being big, tall, strong, this kid can run. She can get down the court as quickly as a point guard can. So don't ever think that Thorne isn't around you.
Look at Thorne on the offensive side, leaning in, can't get that one to fall. Good block out by Rath, backing Thorne out of the way, so the rebound could be grabbed by the Greyhounds.
And Loyola's starting to pick it up a little bit.
Nobody took Erica Rath, wide open underneath with the basket. Miscommunication on defense for the Stags. Rath now has 10 after she had only 2 in the first half. Diane Nolan calls for a 30-second timeout.
Doesn't like what she sees because you have Loyola now getting into some kind of a flow.
Well, in the transition game, too. I mean, that's Loyola's picked up the pace a little bit here, and the transition game paying off. But it's there's no doubt about what they're trying to do here in the second half, and that is get the ball to Erica Rath. She was quiet in the first half, but has been the factor in the second half for the Greyhounds.
And Cobb makes a nice pass to a streaking Rath who gets down to the block, and Isadora's just laid on help. And Rath, to her credit, who's played a lot of minutes, was just willing to streak the court to get there.
Well, the defender for Rath was nowhere to be found, and I think if you're Erica Rath, you kind of look around. Okay, what's wrong? I haven't been this open all game. What's going on here?
Netherton and Rath haven't had a moment to move, and now they're taking a look at things. So
now, and with 3 fouls, Gail Strumpf comes back in the game with 11:43 to go. I mean, it's usually you don't want to bring someone in with 3 fouls at this point, but I think Diane Nolan said, okay, someone's got to get in there and help out and stop Erica Rath. So you know what? When they come back the other way, you got to let's see the matchup, and if Strumpf is on her, I don't know if she would be. You want to go after Gail Strumpf wherever she is defensively now and get that 4th foul. Ball kicked out of bounds. It'll be a reset, but we're going to have a timeout. And when we come back, 11:29 left in this second half. Fairfield 35, Loyola 34. It's semifinal action at the MAAC tournament on the MAAC television network.
450 years of Jesuit tradition are woven into a Fairfield University education, an education characterized by academic excellence and service to the community. This success is fostered by a caring faculty that knows their students as individuals. Located just an hour from New York City, Fairfield combines a park-like campus conducive to learning with the city's cultural and career advantages. Fairfield University, where education reflects the challenges and opportunities of a changing world.
Welcome back to Buffalo. Loyola only down 1 here with 11:29 to go second half, and the 2000-2001 Chase MAAC Women's Players of the Week. Let's take a look. We're seeing some of them here. And Gunta Baska, by the way, from Siena, the Player of the Year. We'll see later today. You see Gail Strumpf and Megan Light from Fairfield, Katie Netherton of Loyola. Just a number of the winners, and again, Gunta Baska was the Player of the Year. Siena will take on St. Peter's later today. Erica Rath and Jennifer Mitchell being honored, and Holly Tapley for Fairfield as well. The Chase MAAC Women's Players of the Week. Tapley underway with the 3, and Tapley able to get it to give them a 4-point cushion, 38-34, as Holly Tapley gets her second 3 of the game. Now, Tapley is the best 3-point shooter in the MAAC, but she's been kept in check for the most part. She's had 2, but she's had also some other looks where she's missed, I believe, at least 2 or 3 others from 3-point range. And there's Rath. Erica Rath is in the zone on offense in the second half for Loyola.
Well, the seniors take a look at the clock. They see there's 10 left, and this is it for them. So they want their game to go at least 1 more day. So look for Rath, Schrumpf, Tapley, and Cohen to really step up in the last 10 minutes of play.
Rath defensively now in Isadora. It's a 2-point game. We're about 30 seconds away from the halfway point here. Thorne, Tapley with 5 on the shot clock. Thorne right elbow. Underneath Isadora, can't get the layup, and Netherton grabs the ball. Oh, Isadora puts her hands on her head. She went up a little too strong, maybe anticipating contact, and nobody was there.
She was almost too free, Howard. It's one of those times when players say, where is the defense? And start looking for it and hearing it.
So Loyola with this trip to tie, or perhaps take the lead if they hit a 3. Cobb, nice penetration, skips it over to Slater, and her 3 is an air ball. Look at Rath right there, but tough angle underneath, can't get it to fall, and out of bounds off of, I believe, Gail Strumpf. It ricochets out of bounds and the Greyhounds will keep possession.
And I think that you're going to see Fairfield go back into its player-to-player because Loyola passes the ball very well against the zone and has found the openings in the seam. And sure enough, you'll see it. They're right back in the 11, knowing that it might be a better defense at this point.
Amy Herford, 33 and white, checks in for the first time for Fairfield, the junior from New Zealand. And look at that penetration and layup by Lindsay Cobb for her first points of the game. And it's tied at 38. Well, Fairfield swept them in the regular season. 75-56 and 76-66, but this one is dead even with 9.5 to go. Tapley on the wing, Herford. Bounce pass for Strumpf, doubled. Great pass to Thorne for the layup. Perfectly executed.
And she went to the block as well as any passer could go to the block, and Thorne just powered it up.
Thorne, figuring the double team would come over, did exactly what you should do. Drive the lane and leave yourself in position in the passing lane. And what a pretty pass by Gail Strumpf to set that play up.
And as you watch the Fairfield kids, after someone makes a good pass, there's always an acknowledgement. There's always a great pass, good put away. And that's a sign of a very healthy relationship between players on the court.
Well, that's one thing Diane Nolan says about this team. They really love playing with each other. They've become so close as a unit, and they enjoy being out there with each other. Traveling on Chantree Smith. The ball's turned over to Loyola. And I think, you know, another thing you can tell about a team is the dedication in the off-season. And she noticed, said, look, everybody improved in the summer. When they came in October, she could tell right there everybody was better and that they were dedicated, and this was going to be a successful season. And, you know, they're 2 wins away from the best season in the history of the program. Strumpf inside, blocked by Netherton. Light down low. Thorne off the glass and in.
And how good and big has Thorne been down the stretch? You know, I think it's all about being a senior. It's all about players who want to take it one more game, and Thorne is one of those players.
Now we have an official's timeout, and I got to tell you, I'm not exactly sure why.
You'll see Megan Light pass the ball inside. Thorne just squares herself up. Netherton comes over a little bit late, powers it in. Gail Strumpf's on the weak side of the board, waiting in anticipation if the ball doesn't go in.
Well, everything back in order, and it's a 42-38 game for Fairfield. Under 8.5 to go in the second half. Stags with an 8-game winning streak coming into play this morning. Loyola's won 8 of 9. Their only loss in overtime at Siena, and they are battling tooth and nail here in Buffalo. The steal, and Strumpf comes out of it with the basketball.
And Netherton has not touched the ball in this half. They have kept her from scoring. They've kept her from seeing the basketball. So whatever strategy they decided to go with at halftime about Netherton has really paid off.
Even if she didn't hit field goals in the first half, she was getting to the free throw line. She was getting in position to try shots and drawing fouls, which Loyola does so well, but they have not drawn the fouls in the second half. That pass inside, Thorne dives for it, and it's tied up. The arrow will turn the ball back over the other way, and that'll take us to a timeout. 7 minutes and 50 seconds left in regulation play. 42-38. Fairfield leads Loyola. A berth in the MAAC title game on the line here in Buffalo on the MAAC Television Network. Welcome back to the HSBC Arena in Buffalo, and MAAC basketball continuing. The Stags fans happy right now. Their team is up 4. Gail Strumpf and company won the title back in 1998. They're trying to repeat here in not repeat, but do it again here in 2001. They have a 4-point lead, still plenty of time left though in this one. 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Howard Simon, Cecilia DeMarco, and David Scott, thank you for joining us for the first of 6 games today. Men's basketball coming up. A quarterfinal doubleheader, Marist Rider, Iona Loyola, the afternoon sessions. Then we'll have another women's semifinal, St. Peter's, Siena, and then at night, men's quarters, Niagara and Canisius, Siena and Manhattan. A day filled with basketball. Slater for the 3, leaves it short, hits the net, and goes out of bounds.
And Slater really hasn't been able to find her range today. She's really kind of upset with herself because she's had a couple of really nice open looks.
She has 1 3 in this game. All of her 7 points, though, came in the first half. Loyola has not done much offensively in this second half. In fact, 10 points from Erica Rath in the second half, and not much else. Cobb has 2, Cohen has 2, Netherton has 2, Mitchell has 3. Strumpf has it under 10 on the shot clock. Megan Light penetrates, doubled, stripped, ball on the floor, and it's tied up, and it'll be Fairfield basketball. Everybody fighting for the ball at this point of the game. And hopefully Megan Light is okay. She's still down, as you see, just getting up. Looks like she must have banged her right arm. You see she's holding the arm a little bit, but she will stay in the game.
Well, she drives to the basket. She goes in, and she gets blocked really cleanly by Cohen. And then it looks as if when she goes for the loose ball, she falls on her elbow. And she might have hit that funny bone where you feel like everything in your arm is electric.
3 on the shot clock, and look at the pass in for Strumpf. And she's able to get the bucket. Strumpf now with 11. And a whistle on the inbounds. And a foul. Neither team is over the limit. The foul on Tapley is just the team's 4th foul, and it's her 2nd. Loyola has only 1 team foul here in the 2nd half.
And, you know, I'm not sure that that's a good thing, Howard, because they've not gone to the boards with the same kind of authority that they had in the first half. They picked up a few fouls in the first half because of it, but they were going to the boards.
Fairfield in the zone this time. Shannon Cohen back in running the offense, and Slater threw a little double team there through a seam, able to draw the shooting foul, and she will go to the free throw line.
Well, Fairfield is decided right now to sit back in that zone again and force Loyola to put the outside shot up. Rath's range is only about 14 feet, so she's not a real factor against the zone unless she's in the high post. And Netherton hasn't seen the ball. Mitchell hasn't touched the ball in the half, and she's the one three-point shooter that Loyola's been able to count on. Slater's just not been hot. So the move into the zone is going to allow Fairfield some domination on the board.
Laura Slater, junior from Vienna, Virginia, hits both free throws. She's got 9, which is just under her season average. She averaged 10 points. In fact, Cindy Anderson had 4 players averaging in double figures, or 3, I should say, and then Mitchell was at 8. So pretty balanced scoring throughout the starters. Down low, they get it to Sharita Zadora, and she beats the defense with the baseline lay-in.
Loyola has to come out now and jump in the passing lanes, and when you do that, the quickness that Isadora has and that Thorne has is going to be to your disadvantage, because those players will go backdoor on you all night long.
Well, every offensive possession becomes more important for Loyola, and now a whistle and a foul off the ball, perhaps on Netherton.
Netherton bumped Schrumpf, and Schrumpf again Schrumpf does a great job of acting. And she sure was fouled, I'll give her that, but she makes sure that the official sees that it was a foul.
That is her 3rd. It was on Katie Netherton, and as I mentioned, Justin, now the 2nd team foul on Loyola. And again, with time ticking down, every possession so important for Loyola, but they don't even get a shot off on that one. And Staggs trying to add to the 6-point lead. 46-40, 5:48 and counting. Strumpf trying to get inside to Thorne. She does. Beat Rath to the basket, lays it up and in. Great job by Thorne to use her body to keep Erica Rath out of the way and open up that passing lane.
And I have to think that Netherton is weary. She's not had 1 second of rest time, and she's going against Allison Thorne, Gail Schrumpf, and Ayanna Brown. And that's too much to ask a sophomore to do for 35 minutes in a ball game and expect that she's going to be successful on both ends of the court.
Allison Thorne now with 8 points. Cindy Anderson talking things over so we can tell you about the Chase MAAC Women's Rookies of the Week and take a look at the summary. We talked about Ayanna Brown, the Rookie of the Year. You're seeing her in action in this game. Lindsay Gonzalez will play for the Peahens later today. Liana Yansone for Siena, one of the talented young players in this league. But you're seeing Ayanna Brown's name a lot on this list, and that's why she eventually won Player of the Year. Now, in the second half of the season, look at the role for Yansone from Siena, winning it the last 5 straight weeks. And the Chase MAAC Women's Rookie of the Week brought to you by Chase Manhattan Bank. The right relationship is everything. And you get a look at Ayanna Brown from Norwalk, Connecticut, an All-American honorable mention in high school in Norwalk, and played on a state title team, averaged 15 points, 16 boards, and 6 blocks. And has had a fantastic first year for the Stags. Well, he talked about points in the paint, and Loyola's pretty good inside, but look, they're getting beat 28-16 down there.
Well, that was one of the keys to the game was, can you get the ball inside? Can you pound it inside? And it's not because Loyola doesn't have quality post players, but I don't believe they have quality substitutions at the post. That's why Rath and Netherton need to be on the court for as many minutes as they do. And Fairfield has just attacked them all morning long.
Let's check in again with the 3rd member of our broadcast team, David Scott. David?
Cecilia and Howard in the Loyola huddle. Coach Anderson, as you see right now, Mitchell taking a 3. If they have the 3, they want to take it, and they want to be very aggressive on defense. The only one in foul trouble is Netherton with 3. So look for Loyola to really get after it and maybe be a little bit more aggressive on the defensive end. Back to you, Howard.
All right, David, thank you very much. Now, that is the problem Loyola fell into, though, in the 2 regular season meetings with Fairfield. When they opened a lead and you got to play catch-up, this is not a team that can shoot the 3 and do that in terms of playing catch-up. They were the worst three-point shooting team in the MAAC this season.
Well, they shoot just 27% at three-point land. So to ask them now to shoot the 3 isn't really, I don't know, Howard, a formula for success, because first, they're tired. They've played a second game within a 24-hour period of time, and second, they're not good at it. So you see here Slater going up against going up strong. You see the fight for the basket with Isadora just grabbing on, Slater grabbing onto her as she goes through.
Slater got the foul. It's her 3rd. Loyola 3 team fouls, 5 team fouls on Fairfield. Under 5 minutes now, 4:50 to go. Fairfield with the 8-point lead, their largest of the game. And on the drive to the basket, a blocking foul on Erica Rath. That'll be her 3rd.
And Rath is upset because Rath thought she had position, and Rath may have moved. That's a tough call for an official to make. You see here, Isadora is going, and Rath is moving. And what players think is, you can get there, but if your feet are moving, you're still considered defensive movement, so you're going to get the call going against you.
Shireen Isadora, the sophomore, at the free throw line. Can't get the first one to fall. Isadora, 5 points on the morning from Roselle, New Jersey. She has had an impact from the minute she put on a Stag uniform. She has started all but 1 game in her 2 years for Diane Nolan. She was the MAAC Rookie of the Year last season. So you mentioned you got back-to-back Rookies of the Year, and Isadora and Brown is a very good foundation for the next couple of years.
Well, you take a look now, and Smith, the one player that Loyola needs perhaps defensively on the court, is sitting, because she's the one player that can defend Isadora. I don't think that Mitchell is quick enough to defend Isadora one-on-one, and what Fairfield will do is they'll isolate and have Isadora drive to the basket the way that she did in the next couple of possessions. And sure enough, Smith is coming in. I don't know who she'll substitute for, but she's the one player that has the feet, Howard, to slow Isadora down.
Chantry Smith with an ice pack on her back. Checked in at the scorer's table and handed it off to Chris O'Connor, the assistant SID for Fairfield. That's pretty cool. Check in at the scorer's table here. Take this ice pack, would you please?
And Smith is going to create a lot of pressure on the guards, hoping that Fairfield will just make an errant pass and they can step into a passing lane.
Well, they have to do something to force the tempo here. Down 9, perhaps double digits on this trip. That last trip, they did everything they wanted to. They got it to Rath in the lane. Tough but makeable shot, and they couldn't get it to fall. Isadora with a big basket, and now it's in double digits. The lead is 11.
Well, Mitchell just can't defend Isadora, and now they're having to play Fairfield's game, and they're not the kind of team that can catch up and make up with a lot of points. Being down 10, as Loyola is right now, is a monumental amount of points for them because they don't score quickly.
Again, they got it inside to Rath, and she wasn't able to convert. Great pass by Chantry Smith. But Rath not able to get it down, and again, it's just taking more time off the clock, and Loyola needs points, and the clock is their enemy in a big way. Cohen with the fake and the drive and the layup. Quickly, timeout call by Cindy Anderson. The senior point guard, Shannon Cohen, with a magnificent move to the basket to get him within 9. It is 51-42 with 3:34 remaining in the second half. And Cindy Anderson talking strategy in the huddle. And we'll take a look at this last drive by Cohen.
Nice little head fake here. She'll get Thorne up. Thorne wisely steps aside, and she does a great baseline step and squares her shoulders and puts it up. And Cohen, again, when she was on the bench, when in the first half Loyola couldn't do a thing, she might be the one that has to make something happen. But she's a quick little point guard. She'll go to the basket. Loyola has to decide, Howard, now. Do they foul down 11 with 3:34? How much time do they allow Fairfield to use before they get in the foul mode? If they do, who do they foul? Because you have a couple of foul shooters out there who aren't near as strong, so they have to be sure how they decide. Now, Light is not the person you want to foul.
And they're not over the limit yet either. That's the 6th foul, so they've got to give one more before they put Fairfield at the foul line. Fairfield, the 3rd best free throw shooting team, by the way. This copyrighted telecast of the MAAC may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the MAAC and MAAC Properties. Timeout with 3:31 left. 51-42, Fairfield leads Loyola. Back with more of this semifinal game in a moment on the MAAC Television Network.
Beginning conference play, Rider University jumped to a 6-0 record and had most MAAC observers sitting up and taking notice. With their early season hopes of a MAAC regular season championship gone, Rider limps to Buffalo with a 5th-place finish and a date with Marist. The roller coaster ride in January and early February still has Rider head coach Don Harnum scratching his head.
Welcome back. Semifinal action continuing, and Loyola down 51-42 to Fairfield with 3:31 left in the second half of this game. Cindy Anderson trying to come up with some answers here and to avoid being swept all 3 games by the Stags this season. But more important than those numbers, the winner plays for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Fairfield led this game at half by 4, 23-19. We talked about pace and tempo. Score-wise, this is where Loyola wanted it to be, but they're just not generating enough offense. Let's take a look at the Citizens Communications long-distance shooter update. Holly Tapley in this game, we talked about it. She was the best three-point shooter in the league this season. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC, is once again the proud sponsor of the MAAC long-distance shooter of the year. Well, Loyola could use some of that three-point shooting help right now. And now they've got to play defense. Isadora to Strumpf. Next foul will put them over the limit. But again, Fairfield, an excellent free throw shooting team. Isadora has the lowest percentage, I believe, of those out there, but it's still 65%, which isn't bad. Strumpf, I don't know if she was thinking pass or shot there when she went into the air, but it goes out of bounds.
I think that Thorne was anticipating the pass, and Tapley sort of got in the way of it. So she's nodding her head as if to say, yeah, it wasn't the best pass in the world. And they don't want to give up possession. All Fairfield wants to do is use the clock a little bit.
Around the perimeter they go. Smith driving all the way to the basket through 3. Can't get it to fall, and Tapley has the loose ball. Smith wanted a foul on that one. There were 3 Stags players down there playing defense and trying to keep Chantrese Smith from getting the bucket. Tapley, Thorne knocked down off the play. Gets up. Light. You could hear, that was Thorne screaming for the basketball, by the way, if you're wondering what that sound was. She was wide open underneath and let out a pretty big scream to try and get the ball.
Well, they're looking inside because they know if the ball gets inside, there's a chance that they'll be fouled, and it's the best percentage shot they can take at this point in the ball game.
Again, trying to take some time, down under 10 on the shot clock. Light inside for Strumpf. Nice help by Slater to come over and knock the ball out of bounds. It'll stay Fairfield ball and 4 seconds on the clock now. But it's a nice move by Slater to come in and help down there.
Yeah, and Loyola has to be careful now because all they've done the last couple of possessions is lob.
Look at that move inside. Tapley gets right in. We've seen that a few times today with under 5 seconds on the shot clock. Fairfield's been able to get inside that defense and get a quick basket in there.
Well, I think that they may have put in a couple of new out-of-bounds plays because it looks as if Loyola's never seen the shows, and that wouldn't surprise me at all if that was one of the bag of tricks that Coach Nolan decided to use in this tournament.
Rath answers back. It's again, though, a 9-point game. You can't trade baskets if you're Loyola because, as you see at the clock, we're now under 2 minutes away. And Fairfield in very good shape right now, up 9.
And Fairfield really using its experience now, using a lot of the clock. They've got it down to 10 on this possession already.
Tapley, one of the seniors with the drive and draws the foul. 2 free throws coming up with 1:43 left. Tapley, a senior. Gail Strumpf, the senior. Those are the 2 veteran players on this team. As you look at Cindy Anderson trying to get Loyola back into the finals, but it appears, barring a rally here, they will fall short.
Well, they'll have to get into a foul shooting game, and if they get into a foul shooting game, they're going to be faced with having to foul the best foul shooters in the league, unless you're fouling Isadora, and Thorne is just under 70% as well. So you don't have truly, Howard, a bad foul shooter on that court. And you know that Coach Nolan will make certain that Megan Light keeps the ball in her hands because she shoots in the upper 80s. So look for some strategy in the part that Fairfield is not going to let anyone but its best foul shooters touch the ball and use the clock. Loyola has to do something, whether it's drive to the basket. I'm not sure the three-point strategy is a good one. They're not a very good three-point shooting team, and they've got to get the ball down quickly. Smith may be the one player that has the ability to drive and pick up some fouls.
Tapley, first team All-MAC honoree this season, gets the first free throw. She's got 9. Holly Tapley had the best season of her career with a career-high 15 points per game. And hits the second one to give her 10, double digits. Third player in double digits. Very good balance for Fairfield in terms of scoring in this game as well. And the lead is up to 11. Inside they go. Smith can't get the basket, but will draw the foul. And that's certainly something Dan Nolan didn't want to see, but still she's feeling pretty good with an 11-point lead and 1:37 left.
Fairfield foul number 35, Gail Strumpf. That is her fourth, and the team 6.
So Strumpf gets her 4th foul. And Chantrese Smith, who had a stare down with Gail Strumpf earlier in this game, goes to the free throw line.
And that may have been the most costly stare down of the tournament because
maybe it woke her up, you know. Yeah.
It surely motivated that child. All of a sudden, Gail Strumpf got the look of fire in her eyes, and since then, she's dominated on both ends of the court.
Smith gets 1 out of 2, her first point of the game, but it's a 10-point game for Fairfield. Smith trying to put on some pressure and disrupt Tapley. Cohen trying to strip it out as well.
And keeping the ball in the hands of 2 of the best foul shooters in the league. See, I don't agree with this, Howard. If you're going to foul someone, then with just 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock, foul them the second they pass the ball. And don't waste the 10 seconds because, you know, they're not the kind of a team that you're probably going to steal the ball from anyway. So foul them, get them there early, and, you know, Tapley might miss one where you can come down the other end and convert.
76% free throw shooter. All net on that one. She'll get another one. Well, time ticking down on Loyola. And you don't want to forget about the contributions the senior class has made for the Greyhounds as Tapley hits them both. Shannon Cohen, Erica Rath out there on the court. Desiree Peterkin, Sharika Wilson on the bench. The winningest class in the history of Loyola basketball. 72 victories coming into action this morning. And certainly you should make mention of that as it appears their tournament run will end here with the Fairfield Stags in control. Thorne underneath draws the foul with 1:05 left and a 12-point lead.
But I think you make a great point. Erica Rath has had such a great career for the Greyhounds. And Cohen has been the ultimate point guard. She's done everything that a coach could ask. Megan just is taking this down, lays it off. Thorne powers up again. Mitchell did all she could. She had to get her on the wrist. It was going to be an automatic 2.
So Allison Thorne, who was really has provided a spark for this team off the bench, gets the first free throw. If she hits this one, she'll be in double digits as well. Brown's got 14. This is unofficial because it's my numbers, and Lord knows that's unofficial. Strumpf's got 11. Tapley with 12. Thorne's at 9. Isadora's at 8. That's the kind of balance that you love to have if you're head coach Diane Nolan.
Well, it's been equal opportunity offense for Fairfield all season long. And Thorne, you know, my hat's off to Thorne because she had started for 3 seasons. 50th senior comes in with the expectation that she'll start again. Championship team, 25 wins, and a WNIT bid, comes back, gives up her seat to Iona Brown, and doesn't complain at all. Sits back and says, how can you use me?
Netherton underneath with a quick 2 and a quick timeout gets Loyola to 47. And just to talk about the defense of Fairfield, Loyola was held under 50 points just one time this season. That was by Virginia back in November. And Fairfield has done a very solid job defensively. And by the way, they're 9-0 when they hold their opponents under 60. And Diane Nolan's team is certainly going to hold Loyola under 60 here. Diane Nolan is on the verge of taking her team to the MAAC tournament championship game for the 8th time in her illustrious coaching career at Fairfield. And 3rd time in the last 4 years. She has done a magnificent job. A 5-time Coach of the Year winner for the Fairfield Stags, and 381 victories, 3 NCAA tournament trips. This is just another game on the schedule, the MAAC title game for Fairfield. Although not here in Buffalo. It's ironic. I touched on this earlier. That they have had problems here. They were one and done the other 2 years. The tournament was here in 97 and 99. But now, of course, they're on the verge of their second win here. And that would get them in the MAAC championship game.
And Diane Nolan, Howard, is, in my estimation, one of the best coaches, not just in New England, but in the country. She has been in the game for 30 years and has changed the way the players has changed. She's calm. She's in control. She just doesn't let things bother her. And she lets a lot roll off her back, and kids really like playing for Diane.
Tapley trying to finish things off at the free throw line where she has been very effective. That's her 5th straight free throw. That's making number 6. Well, we talked about it. If you're going to foul Fairfield, and you have to. You had to try and foul them. They are an excellent free throw shooting team, and they are not missing there. Jennifer Mitchell's 3 off the side of the rim. Tapley with the board. Does a little tightrope walking, and Megan Light is fouled with 45.9 seconds remaining. While we have a chance, let's talk about the Pepsi MAAC Player of the Year. And we're going to see this player a little bit later. Gunta Basco, the sophomore forward from the Siena Saints, averaging over 16 points and just under 10 rebounds a game, and 2+ steals. Basco having a phenomenal season for the Saints as they rolled to a MAAC regular season championship at 17-1.
And remember, she's just a sophomore, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of scary if you're your other MAAC coaches.
Yeah, and Sony is just a freshman. So you bring the two of those people together, and they're going to bring Siena to the Final Four of this tournament for years to come because they can play.
Jennifer Mitchell has a 3 there, and that's why Gina Castelli is Coach of the Year. She'll be the first one to admit it. You can't win without players. She's got players, and she deservedly won Coach of the Year. Well, we're going to take a look, by the way. We talked about balance, but, of course, you have to pick out a player of the game for the Fairfield Stags. And, you talked about seniors at the very top of the telecast, and you need your seniors to step up in tournament play. And I think she's on the bench right now taking a break, but we're going to talk about Gail Strumpf in just a moment. But first, more free throws. This time it's Mary Beth Chartier, and she actually misses that one. But it's still 63-50 Fairfield with 37.9 seconds left in this one.
And Fairfield finds a way to win. If you're going to slow it down with Fairfield, then they'll pound the ball inside. If you're going to run with Fairfield, then Isadora is going to get a dozen points that day. So the weapons that Diane Nolan has in the way that she utilizes them, again, Shiana, one of her key players, has been out with a concussion and will be out for the tournament. She's a spark plug. They don't have her, and they're still finding ways to win.
Mitchell gets her 2nd straight 3. She's got 12. It's down to 10, but again, time running out, and they have to foul once again. No, Megan Light will make the trip down court, or up court rather, and she'll go to the free throw line.
And Fairfield, again, putting the ball in the players' hands that are the best foul shooters on the team. Megan Light shooting, as I mentioned before, up in the high 80s. She'll get to the line. She's confident she'll knock it down. Fairfield's put the game away.
So Fairfield will have some more free throws. Foul-out situation there, so there's a 30-second timeout. Well, they know they'll be in the final. The question is who they would play. It'll either be St. Peter's or Siena. Fairfield split with St. Peter's this season, and they split with Siena. They actually gave Siena their only loss. That was up at Fairfield in mid-January, a 77-67 game, but the Saints came back and won over in Loudonville by 6 in early February. And Diane Nolan's team has had a number of matchups. Boy, she's gone up against Mike Grinelli so many times over the years in the MAAC. They lost at St. Peter's by 12. They also beat St. Peter's at home by 4. So they split with the two teams that are left on the opposite side of the bracket.
But St. Peter's has been a thorn in Fairfield's side. Last year, when Fairfield was the hands-down favorite coming into the tournament, they were upset by St. Peter's and really haven't swallowed that pill.
Well, a lot of teams have not found a way to beat Mike Grinelli on a consistent basis.
Well, Mike Grinelli, I watched that game last night, and, down by 15 points, and just in the last 10 minutes putting on a show of how to get back in the ball game. His kids just do it for him.
Off the miss, Fairfield with the basketball, and Loyola, I think, is just going to let time run down. So the Fairfield Stags live to play another day, and for the 8th time under Diane Nolan, Fairfield is headed to the championship game of the MAAC tournament. And they will play tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. 65-53 is the final. And our Pepsi player of the game is Gail Strumpf, the senior from Beacon Falls, Connecticut, with 11 points and 3 rebounds. Gail Strumpf helps Fairfield get back to the MAAC title game. 27-15, Fairfield outscored Loyola in the last half of this second half. Back to wrap this one up in a moment. Fairfield moves on to the title game. Back in a moment on the MAAC Television Network.
This game is brought to you in part by HSBC, your world of financial services. The Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of Pepsi. Citizens Communications, the official telecommunications company of the MAAC. And by Chase Manhattan Bank, the right relationship is everything.
Welcome back to HSBC Arena in Buffalo and our continuing coverage of the MAAC tournament. We have one half of the women's title game set. Howard Simon along with Cecilia DeMarco and David Scott here. Fairfield moves on. Their 9th straight victory puts them in the championship game against either Siena or St. Peter's. Let's go over to David Scott, who has the victorious head coach. David?
Thanks, Howard. Coach Nolan, congratulations. Great win. Back in the championship game, 3rd time in 4 years. Old hat for you now, isn't it?
Well, it never gets old hat, but this is where we wanted to be, and I'm just really pleased with the way the kids were able to come out hard on an early morning and get the victory.
It's nice to have bagels in basketball, isn't it? You had some great balance, especially in the second half. 4 scorers, I think, in double figures. What did you do to make some adjustments coming out of the locker room?
Well, we thought they were really extending themselves in the perimeter and making it difficult for us to get into our offense. So we tried to get the kids to make their cuts a little harder, make them a little bit longer, kind of overload and make them pay for the double on the perimeter. The kids shared the basketball, and that's what got the victory.
You saved some tricks for this game. You got to go into tomorrow night's game. Do you have some more in the bag that you didn't reveal yet?
Yes, we do. We've been holding some things for the tournament because we know that this is the make or break of your season. So we've been itching to get them out, and we'll have some for tomorrow.
Mostly in terms of out-of-bounds plays. I know Cecilia was commenting that it looked like Loyola was confused on some of those plays. What other things do you try and adjust on?
Well, we're trying to do some more ball screens and try to work our weak side a little bit differently than we did during the regular season.
And we're going to go back to Howard now, but I want to thank you for your time and congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Back to you, Howard.
All right, David, thank you very much. Again, Fairfield in the title game against either St. Peter's or Siena. We'll be back as we continue our coverage of the MAAC basketball tournament here in Buffalo on the MAAC television network. Welcome back to Buffalo, the first semifinal in the record books. Fairfield defeats Loyola 65-53. And let's check back in with David Scott, who has the player of the game. David?
Thanks, Howard. Player of the game, probably player of the year last year, and maybe this year. Some controversy over that, but we don't have to touch on that. Gail, tell me, Ayanna Brown really stepped up for you. Do you think that what contributed was having you get so much attention?
I think definitely, and her making her shots, I mean, that helped us out a lot. I mean, if I had to name an MVP right now, it'd definitely be Ayanna.
She's playing really not like a freshman anymore. It seems like she's stepped up. What about the rest of the team? So much balance and so much continuity. Really feel like you've hit your stride now?
I definitely do. I mean, in the first half, we're a little shaky, but I think once we all play together and we lift each other up, that's when we do well, and you can tell by what happened today. Now,
I want you to show the camera. We have the green nail polish today. Tell the story. You change every game before the game?
Yeah, right before, like, even in the locker room before the game, I always paint my fingernails, or on the basketball court, I'll paint my fingernails. It's been with me since freshman year, so I've just been doing it.
Green today for Loyola. Who would you like to paint them for tomorrow?
It doesn't matter. I just want to win.
Looking forward to getting back to that championship game. A tough loss last year to St. Peter's. What do you have to do this year to get over the hump and not suffer that same upset?
I think we just have to play together and just work hard, and everybody has to step up, not just one or two people. It has to be a team thing, and we'll do fine.
What do you think they're doing back in Beacon Falls now? A little celebration going on?
Probably. I don't even know. They probably don't even get this channel.
Oh, this channel goes everywhere, and MAAC basketball is on everywhere. Gail, I want to thank you for your time, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Back to you, Howard.
All right, David, thank you very much. You know, it's funny, Doug Sherman and Jack Armstrong do the same thing with their nails before men's games, and they're working on theirs for Marist and Ryder right now. We'll take a break, wrap up the women's game, and get you ready for Marist and Ryder in the first men's quarterfinal game here in Buffalo on the MAAC television network. Fairfield Stags equal the school record with their 25th win of the season, and they will play for a MAAC championship Sunday night at 7. Welcome back to Buffalo, Howard Simon and Cecilia DeMarco. Balance, I think, is the key word, because Fairfield had a number of players at key times. Gail Strumpf in the second half, Ayanna Brown in the second half, Allison Thorne in certain moments. Tapley hits the free throws. They had everybody contribute in this game.
Well, I think, Howard, one of the weapons, many of the weapons that Coach Nolan has is the depth of her team. They're deeper than most teams that they play. Their depth in the post is not equaled in this league. They have 3 players that can step up at any time, and they have quality guards. So when you saw Netherton begin to lose her legs, it wasn't just because it was the second game of the evening. It was because she had to face 3 of the better post players in the league for a stretch of 40 minutes. I don't know anybody that can do that and walk away successful. So hats off to Loyola for hanging around for as long as they did.
We talked about Loyola's defense, but as you just touched on it, Fairfield did a nice job defensively. I mean, Rath got her points in the second half, but they really kept Netherton in check, and they shut down Rath in the first half, actually, and they did a pretty good job inside.
Well, Netherton was sandwiched the whole ball game, and when she's sandwiched, what she usually does is power it up and draw the foul. But Schrumpf did such a good job of just blocking without contact, and Schrumpf really neutralized Netherton today. So the post play, Diane Nolan's switch in the second half to pounding it inside and having the touches go to the big people really distanced the game for Fairfield.
All right, Cecilia, we'll see you again at 5 o'clock for women's semifinal number 2. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll get you ready for men's quarterfinal game number 1. Marist and Ryder is coming up next. Welcome back to the HSBC Arena in Buffalo. The MAAC tournament continuing, and we're getting you into men's action. It is quarterfinal play, Ryder and Marist, and it's been an interesting season for Ryder. Here's Doug Sherman with more on the Bronx and how they got to this point, the MAAC tournament.
Beginning conference play, Rider University jumped to a 6-0 record and had most MAAC observers sitting up and taking notice. With their early season hopes of a MAAC regular season championship gone, Rider limps to Buffalo with a 5th-place finish and a date with Marist. The roller coaster ride in January and early February still has Rider head coach Don Harnum scratching his head.
It's really hard to put your finger on. You know, we've played stretches where we've played brilliant basketball and looked unbeatable, and then we've played stretches where we look like we're in the bottom half of the league, no doubt. We've been a little inconsistent, but hopefully, you know, we gain a little momentum heading into the tournament.
Through it all, junior forward Mario Porter has continued to put up big numbers and is the Bronx leader in scoring while finishing second in rebounding.
As far as I'm concerned, you know, he's the player of the year in the league. I don't know what the other coaches will feel. You know, maybe if we don't win the league, somebody else will get that honor. But he's been very, very consistent. He's a very tough matchup because he can score inside, he can score outside.
Porter, along with senior Jonathan McClark, form one of the strongest and most impressive front lines in the MAAC. But for the Bronx to leave Buffalo with a conference title, they must get consistent production from the perimeter.
A lot of guys in the perimeter haven't shot the ball particularly well, but I think we're starting to shoot it well right now. And I think we have a lot of components, and guys can do a lot of different things, and I think that's what makes our backcourt special.
Through the ups and the downs, the Bronx continue to exude confidence. They are comfortable with their progress, and more importantly, they are absolutely positive the lessons of January will pay dividends in March. Their leadership and understanding of what it means to play in a MAAC tournament may just make the difference this year.
Our defense is good. Going into this tournament, we got a real good chance of winning. Our offense has never been a problem with us all season, so we pick up on defense, we have a real good chance. I think we're one of the best, top 2 teams in this tournament.
I feel like we're definitely capable of winning the tournament. I mean, we played with everybody the whole season. You know, we beat teams, and I feel like if we come and play well, I mean, we're definitely capable of winning the whole thing. And I think it's just going to take a team focus on the team and doing what we have to do and do the little things, and I think we'll be all right.
Well, we'll see what Ryder can do in quarterfinal action. Doug Sherman, Jack Armstrong, their favorite beverage in hand, getting ready to bring you Ryder and Marist next on the MAAC Television Network.